Welcome to the Neo operational video series for software version 3.8. These videos are designed for targeted instruction to get you up to speed quickly and simply. This video targets loading and saving shows. So let's talk about loading and saving shows because this has been completely rebuilt. It's important to understand some changes that have been made to the show file saving system. The show will always be safe, and these changes further enhance the security of the show file to protect it against unintended changes. The current show in the active memory of the console will always be up to date, and it will be retained even if the console is powered off. These new changes allow saving copies of the show file while maintaining an archive of the data as needed. So feel free to read through the loading and saving show screen to understand it, but I'm going to go ahead and I've actually already clicked continue, and we're going to move forward with explaining what goes on. So starting a new show, when I do options and do new show, if there are any changes have been made to the current show, it's going to ask if I want to save those changes or not, or I can cancel. I'm going to say no because I don't need it. Most likely you probably want to save those changes. So here we have a new show. It's an unnamed show, and now I can begin work. Everything will be saved as I make changes as I go along. As I do make changes, a little asterisk will appear at the end of the name of the show, and everything's fine, and then I can choose to save this whenever I want to, but it will not be saved to the hard drive until you actually do a save function, so that this works a lot more like the majority of the Windows programs that we're used to. Now if we look at, so if we want to do a save, we'll say the save is not available because we have not named this yet, but I'll do a save as, and we'll call this Neo Training, and notice it's got the .neo. I already have a version. I'll just say yes to save it over that, and that's been saved. Now if we want to look at loading a show, I can open and say let's load a show, and I could pick essentially anything I want here. I'll just pick a demo file that I often use, which will now load a different file, and I can see the name of that file. So we're going to go back to the training file. So I'm going to say load. We're going to go back to Neo Training, and it will load the Neo Training file. So the important thing to understand is if you're loading a show, a prompt will appear to save the existing show before loading the show into the current show, into the active memory. When a prior show is opened, one using that's from 3.7 or earlier, that's a completely different file extension. That's an FDB file. A prompt will appear allowing Neo to convert it to the new format of .neo. A show file can now be loaded directly from an external drive or a USB drive without prior needing to copy it to the console. Now on top of that, you can use save as we did, which is essentially the same as save, just giving it a different name. But this is especially useful for keeping multiple copies of the show file to be able to go back to earlier versions. Now as I'm working on this, if I hit save, what it's going to do is create a backup version, which will be the show file name plus a revision number. So I'm just going to say record to create a blank queue so that we have something different. I'll say options save. It has now saved this. And if I say let's do options and load a save show, we can see I now have a file here called Neo Training plus Neo Training Rev 1. So this will continue storing this information as a new file when I save it up to the maximum of 10 backups or 10 revs. After that it will overwrite and get rid of the old one. So that's the new file system. Thanks for watching. This video is just one of many, so go to the website www.strandlighting.com for many more videos on Neo operations.